So we've had yet another week of extremism, extreme politics entering our country, and it's sad. It's really sad with everything that went on in the synagogue here in Brighton. We had a mosque that was attempted to burn down. Just more and more just extreme politics, extremism in this country. And the question keeps being asked, isn't it? How do we solve this? How do we actually solve this? And in my eyes, something that would just go a long way to sorting this, something that we have to do as a country, is just stop this. Just stop this constantly. You know, we've all just inserted this drug into our lives of social media now, haven't we? It seems like every waking moment of the day, whenever someone's got a spare 2 minutes, if you're waiting at the bus stop, it comes out. Yeah, if you're at the doctor's surgery, it comes out. Even walking down the street, you see people just walking down the street like this, and you know, you got a spare 2 minutes, you sit on the sofa, it comes out. And you know, for a lot of people, it's harmless cat videos, and we can discuss later whether that's truly harmless, but for a lot of people, it's politics. The algorithm has handed them politics, and this is where it gets dangerous. This is why we see the rise of extremism. This is why people go to the extent of what they trying to murder people in synagogues, and well, not try, succeeding, and trying to burn down mosques. You know, this is where it goes when you're obsessed with politics 24/7, when you're consumed by it, when you're suffocated by it, because every single spare minute of the day you're doing this. You can't even wait at the doctor's surgery without doing this. You can't spend 2 minutes on the sofa without doing this, without drip feeding it to you. Like, do you remember, like everyone's heard the word clickbait, right? We hear this quite a lot. You've heard the word quite a lot, where, you know, something's so juicy that you have to click on it. You have to click on it. But now we don't even have the choice to click. It's just drip fed to us in a feed, in a constant feed on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, where we haven't even got the power to choose now. Our masters are just pushing, the masters of the algorithm are just feeding this stuff. And if you get hooked on an algorithm of politics, especially extreme politics, and every single minute of the day, that's what you're doing. You're just drip feeding it more and more and more and more and more. More and more extreme politics is going to come out. Now, whenever I bring up this topic, and I've brought this topic up before, you know, I get the same sort of comments like, oh, it's all right for you to stick your head in the sand. Politics is too important. We need to be in the know. We need to find out about this stuff. We need to be involved. And this is the thing, I've never advocated for anyone to stick their head in the sand and not be informed. You know, the way that I deal with this now, with politics, I sort of pick one or two trusted media sources that I rely on and trust, that I go to once or twice a week for my information and my news. I'm not saying don't be informed. I'm not saying politics is not important. It's really important. The way this country's going at the moment, it's very important. But I don't think suffocating yourself with this stuff every spare minute of the day, constantly feeding yourself this stuff every single day, is good. And that's what breeds extremism. You know, that's why I got a little bit frustrated a while back when the content creator Supertansky made these very points. You know, she said to me, it's all right for you as a white male, you know, these things don't affect you. Racism, homophobia, transphobia, these things don't affect you as a white man. You know, and this is where I get frustrated. But okay, I mean, I could consume and suffocate myself with anti-racism and pro-trans and pro-Palestine. So I could absolutely absorb and suffocate myself with this stuff. What good is it going to do? What good does it do just absorbing this type of content 24/7? Is it going to fight the good fight, or is it going to make me absolutely miserable? And even then, like, nothing's ever good enough for these people. Nothing's ever good enough. Nothing's ever enough. You know, I could do all this stuff, but then someone would come along and say, oh, you don't care about what's going on in Sudan. Thousands of people are dying in Sudan. You haven't talked about it at all. It's all right for you. You live in England. You're privileged. This stuff doesn't affect you. Why are you not talking about Sudan? You know, this stuff's never enough. There's always an issue. There's thousands of problems in the world. You can't consume and suffocate yourself with everything that's going on. Stay informed. Have your morals. Have your politics that you care about. Take on a few trusted sources each week to keep yourself informed of what's going on. But this is my issue with the social media world, and why I think I've had to radically change what I do now. I do one video a week, and the topics that I touch on, I want to stay clear of the sensationalism and stuff like this, and really just try and promote this message. Consuming and suffocating yourself with politics every single day breeds extremism. It's not good. And it's what's causing most of the problems in this country. If everyone in this country just stopped obsessing about politics 24/7, it would be a much better place. Concentrate on what affects your life. Concentrate on making your own life better. Concentrate on the people around you, your friends and family, the community that you live in. Maybe some of this time that you spend consuming politics online, maybe you could go and see that local project that's tidying up areas of your streets, making a community garden, soup kitchens, feeding the homeless. All these things are happening in your community. How about just try and focus on making your circle of influence better? And that starts by putting the bloody phone down. And like I say, it's just weird, because we've just been handed this, we've all just accepted this new drug into our lives, haven't we? You know, it's like caffeine. Like caffeine has sort of been accepted as the harmless drug into our life. But have you ever tried giving up caffeine? Jesus Christ, you actually realise how intense it is when you try and give it up. You get headaches, you get tired. It's awful, but we accepted it. And the same with this. We just accepted this new drug into our lives that just sort of drip feeds us dopamine. We all just kind of accepted it because, you know, it started off as a phone, and, you know, we all need a phone, don't we? And then, you know, people started using it for their businesses, and you need social media to market and sell things for your business, and we all just accepted it into our lives. But if you like take it back to its core, it's just a thing that's in your hand that's just drip feeding you this dopamine and endorphins. You know, if you strip it back to its core, like imagine if we were all just had a needle in our arm and were just slowly drip feeding us dopamine. Like, the world would go nuts, wouldn't they? They'd go, Jesus Christ, this is an epidemic. We need to sort this out. What is going on? Everyone's addicted to this new drug. But because it's a phone, we've accepted it as the norm. And it's so unfulfilling, isn't it, when you spend time just doing that? It's unearned dopamine. And it's strange. It's like the evolution, isn't it? Like, I guess this sort of screen technology started like with movie theaters back in the day, but you'd go with your friends and family and sit in a room with lots of other people, watch the screen. And then even when it sort of came into our homes with TV, people sort of went, oh God, everyone's going to be glued to the TV and not going to leave the house. But even then, it's still a social thing. You'd sit around with your family, you'd watch the same show. And now it's just evolved to this thing that is so singular, just so lonely. Now, I mentioned earlier about harmless cat videos and things like that. You know, they are harmless, but that in itself has different connotations. I mean, it just saps your motivation. It wastes time. This is the thing, man. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Like, you probably, because the very fact that you clicked on this video means that you have knowledge on this topic. We all know this deep down, that this stuff is not good for us. We know that these phones are addictive. We know that they don't really give us any self-worth. But I think it just takes time, doesn't it? It's like smoking. Like, we all knew in the 70s that smoking was bad, but it took a couple of decades for us to go, right, we really need to cut this stuff out of our lives. And this is what I want to end on. I like to end on a positive note if I can. You know, this can be done. We can do this. Like I say, people know this. I'm not telling you anything new. We need to start putting the phones down and interacting with people in the real world. Like, it's weird. Like, do you ever find this when you speak to people now? Like, no one has any hobbies anymore. You speak to someone you haven't seen for a while, you say, oh, what have you been up to? And they'll be like, oh, you know, they'll probably tell you about what program they've watched on Netflix, or a funny reel that they've seen. And if they do have a hobby, most of the time it's going down the gym, which has now just turned into a very singular, lonely thing to do anyway. You go down the gym on your own, you plug your headphones in, you work out, and then you go home, sometimes without speaking to a single other human being. And it's the phones. It's the phones that are doing this, man. If you sit down on the sofa, it's a reflex that people have. The phone comes out the pocket. It's a reflex. That habit has formed over years now. And these sort of habits are really hard to break. These reflexes you're so used to. Sitting down in the doctor's surgery, at the bus stop, the phone comes out, the phone comes out. Just put it down, man. Just put it down. Just let your head have silence for a couple. You don't need to switch the TV on. You don't need to do anything else. Just stay in silence. And something beautiful will happen when you do that. Something beautiful will happen, that your brain will start thinking of things to do, because you don't let your brain do that. You don't let your brain actually think of things to do. You're constantly filling it with stuff, keeping it occupied. But if you put it down, just sit in silence, your brain will start going, oh, maybe I should rearrange those photos on the wall or something, get a little collage. You know, this is what we used to do before phones. You fill your day with little tasks, with little things to do that will give you long-term dopamine hits that are actually worthwhile and earned. Now, we all need to chill out after, you know, if you're a nurse that's done a 12-hour shift or something, you don't really want to be, you don't want to fill yourself with tasks after that, but, you know, read a book or watch a movie. Sit down, put the phone away and just watch a movie that actually takes your focus. You will find that your life is far more fulfilling if you put that thing down. And like I said, the whole reason of this video, the whole title of the video, if we can all realise this, it will go a long way to stopping the extremism in this country. It will go a long way to actually just making this country a better place. We'll stop looking at people like the enemy all the time, because we're being drip fed that they are the enemy. Look at these people, they're the enemy. Go and speak to people in the real world. Anyway, I'm going off in a bit. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. All this stuff really helps. I really want to push these videos out to as many people as possible, so I really appreciate that if you can do that for me. And yeah, let me know what you think down below.